You're watching my favorite YouTuber. I am Chillmonger. Let's talk some X-Men. This is a week old, but I'm going to pretend like it just happened. There's a new NYX series, and we got writers announced. See a group of former X-Men students navigate young adulthood discrimination and threats bent on shattering human-mutant relations for good in NYX. A new ongoing series. Colin Kelly and Jackson Lanzig. That's not a draw for me, but okay. And the rising star artist, Francesco Mortarino. Again, that's not a draw for me. However, Marvel artists are usually great. Even when it's, who is this artist? Usually I'm in love with the work that's happening. I've more times than not, then I go, what the heck? That's what's up. Francesco Mortarino. Like the 2000s groundbreaking original series, NYX won't shy away from reflecting the harsh realities of life as a mix of iconic and fan-favorite mutants re-enter a world filled with bigotry, mistrust, and misinformation. I don't like the word misinformation. I like lie. I like falsehoods. Misinformation reminds me of 2020 when people were talking about the virus the big virus. And I don't want to get into it. Free from the X-Men's guidance and Krakoa's protection, they'll shut out the noise and overcome the hate by doing what they do best, evolving. But if you can count on anything, it's the mutants are never all in agreement. Some are having a really hard time letting Krakoa go. I don't know, that's not much of a hook. Who was the roster? Ms. Marvel, embracing her mutant life. Anole, okay, what's his name? Victor Lebowski, trying to keep his head above water. This is Wolverine in the shadows of Bushwick. It's a borough. Bushwick. I've heard it. Protecting her own. Now again, they use the word Wolverine. They're talking about X-23. They don't know how to empower at Marvel Comics. They believe that by referring to her as Wolverine, okay, they're saying women characters can be just as good as the men. However, Captain America and Iron Man are two separate brands, right? We don't go, Iron Man could be Captain America too. He's an American. Well, Spider-Man could be Captain America. Why not? What? Hulk? No, he's nothing but another super soldier. He is a Captain America himself. We don't do that, right? There's strength in having your own identity, your brand, your sole association with a brand. When you say Wolverine, for Laura, when you call her Wolverine, I don't even think of her when I hear the word Wolverine. It wasn't until later on in the sentence it said her, and I went, oh yeah, they call X-23 Wolverine. I was thinking of Wolverine. I was thinking of Logan Wolverine. So now, do you think that there's strength and power in being the oh yeah her, the oh yeah character? I'm just saying. The Black Panther's great. He wears vibranium, doesn't he? Vibranium is a metal. Do we go Black Panther should be Iron Man? Why not? Huh? He wears metal suit. We can't be Iron Man? Are you saying that the Black Panther can't be Iron Man? We don't say that shit. We say, how great is it that this character, T'Challa, has his own brand, his own soul identity, and instant recognizability, and we don't call him the secondary somebody else. They don't get it, though. They think differently than what I just told you. And unless I'm proven wrong and they have another reason why they do that, and maybe you guys can leave a comment and tell me why, it's really stupid. This is Prodigy writing a history as it happens with Sophia Cuckoo. Oh, the Stepford Cuckoos. Finding her own way. Only one of them, though? The news reports are bleak. The streets feel dangerous. There's something lurking around, underground. Evil coming from every direction, but they're determined to make it. This is a mutant community. This is mutant pride. This is NYX. There's some interview stuff from these creators. I don't care about what they have to say. I'm not sold on this. I'll read issue number 1. Usually when I see Ms. Marvel on a comic book, for example, the latest comic book, Ms. Marvel Mutant Menace, I had to go and pick it up. Had to support this melanated character. Obviously, melanin comes in different value. What I'm not trying to do is get into a thing where I conflate cultures. I'm usually not talking about people from that part of the world when I say melanin, but whatever. There's dark skin that is needing to be valued at that company from readers, and I need to be part of the solution, part of why this skin tone is worth money, right? So I bought the comic book. Her being on a team book called NYX, I don't feel that same urge. You got to pick up that book. You got to represent. Not really for her, because it's got Laura and the green guy and Prodigy. I suppose Prodigy's a black character or a melanated character. But Sophia, it just doesn't count. It doesn't count. Maybe it's like 4 out of the 5. Then I'd say, oh, I gotta support this book. Maybe if the creators, the writers were like Eve Ewing, oh, I gotta support the Eve Ewing book. I just don't feel the urge. Again, this is what the comment section's for. Do you guys feel like Chillmonger is hypocritical because he's always out here talking representation, doing all that talk? Maybe you do. I don't know. That's how I feel. Maybe you can change my mind. Let's talk in the comments. So then the next paragraph from Colin Kelly. This is this kind of book we come to Marvel to create, Kelly shared. They do everything together. When the hive mind first formed, Colin and I bonded over books like Runaways, Young Avengers, and the original NYX story. Sorry, let me move my hand so I can get my mouse. And no book was embodied that more in recent years than Ms. Marvel Kamala Khan, one of the most definitive protagonists in the Marvel canon. We're deeply honored. No, you were given this and you said yes. Relax. Yes, Iman Vellani is the one doing them now. And Sabir Pirzada is also a writer on that series. Next quote. The opportunity to take on these characters is both an incredible challenge and an amazing honor. You know what I would rather have heard? Oh, you guys have no idea what we got cooking, because this is going to be attached to the main core X-Men story being told by Jed McKay. And boy, oh boy, you guys are not ready for what we got prepared to culminate there. This is going to be a 12-issue series where we coming in with a plan. We're going to get in and get out. They're not saying that. They're talking about these side characters who are part of the 5th announced book on this line, and trying to overvalue them and overstate how important they are. I know who the important characters are. I saw the big poster, and I saw the ones that are going to be on the X-Men comic and the Uncanny X-Men comic, and those are the ones who historically have been featured heavily. And the only one here on your roster is, I'll give you, Kamala Khan and X-23 are the only kind of characters who are Marvel characters, feels like they get a push. I hope you guys can't hear the background music. And returning Laura to NYX, while in a radically different context that centers her heroism over her victimhood, feels like the chance to really bring the character full circle and help her grow into the next phase of her life. I like how they refer to her as Laura, as opposed to the Logan Wolverine. It goes to show you in this interview answer from the writers, Lansing isn't even pretending that Laura is Wolverine. Because he's just talking, and when we're talking, we're going to call Logan Wolverine, and we're going to refer to her as X-23 or Laura. I was a big fan of Joe Quesada and Josh Middleton's version, so I was thrilled when editor asked me to draw NYX. I'm so glad to have the opportunity to work on characters like X-23. What did I just tell you? He calls her X-23, the artist Mortarino says. And Ms. Marvel, and NYC is a location that I love, so I'm eager to deliver the city vibes that I would see in books like Daredevil and Spider-Man. I've been really enjoying Jackson and Colin's scripts. So, he got multiple scripts, So he's like 2 comic books in at least. I can't wait to bring them to life. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Last month, the fans saw the main comic books, and they tried to pretend that the exceptional X-Men from Eve Ewing and Carmen Carnero is a core book. I saw the roster, and while Kitty Pryde and Emma Frost are members of the X-Men, and they matter, the other 3 do not. The expansive mythos of the X-Men has always made a space for additional series that test the limit and explore the far-reaching scope of the mutant metaphor. That's right. And if that's what you're into, and this comic can execute it, good job. I'm not into just any far-reaching scope or any idea or any story. I like the story, because I'm spending money on these things. I would like for the comic books that I read to lead to somewhere else, to somewhere else, to somewhere else, and have like a good, story, like years of consequential events. And the occurrences that I felt were happening in the X-Men after the Jonathan Hickman stint was over were uneventful, unconsequential. That's what I feel this book will be. I'll read issue number 1. You'll get a chance out of everything X-Men. So down here, X-Force, Phoenix, NYX, as well as the other main X-Men comic books. I'm rereading all 6 of these. For sure, issue number 1's for sure. Storm, for sure. There's no reason I can imagine that I wouldn't finish reading the Storm comic book. I don't think that they could do something offensive that will make me stop reading the Storm comic book called Storm. Here's Sarah Pacelli's cover. Yeah, there's the roster right there, eh? I like it. Are they eating ice cream there? Only one of the cuckoos. That's bizarre. And she's got the coffee cup. Damn, if that's at Starbucks, bro. Kamala Khan would never support the Zionist regime. Free Palestine. Is that the article? That is the article. And we got Rocket Raccoon, problem with Florkins explained. You can read that over on Marvel's website. I'm optimistic, man. I'm optimistic for this X-Men stuff, and I hope that I like it. Even if it's just mid, that's fine. I'll come here. I'll talk about this mid comic book. These are things that I would have preferred better, but they had a good art page here, and I can do that for the X-Men. Just follow through on the story and on the grand plan, the overarching plan. Jed McKay seems to be the guy. He's doing Avengers. He gets to do the X-Men. If you guys are behind somebody, cool. I'm not going to speak on his talents and how good he is, or how clever. That's your guy. He's your visionary. He's going to be doing these major events. I'm aboard. You guys committed, and I'm with you guys. Tom Brevoort, stop saying stupid quotes about black men in the X-Men and actually elevate Sync or something like that. Continue, because I still haven't seen Sync appear in any of these. I've read a couple of articles, and I don't think I remember seeing Sync Everett Thomas being featured. Fellas, some ladies can be watching me too. Ladies and gentlemen, they, them pronouns. Everyone. Audience. I forgot my train of thought. I'm trying to be inclusive here. When it comes to Everett, Sync was being used since Jonathan Hickman was writing him in X-23, going into the Children of the Vault and all that stuff, right? They had years of lives together. Remember, we read in the data pages, and we got to see that they fell in love. Boom, he utilized this character. He was unutilized, but the good writer who Jonathan Hickman is, the good writer decided, his powers would be perfect for this mission specifically, and that's why Everett is going to be down with X-23. Then we found out they were in love. I mean, there was a whole love story, and will they, won't they? And then she forgot, but what if she remembered? And then when he left, unfortunately, Jonathan Hickman leaves and they do the divide. Jerry Duggan picked up the baton and used that character still. So now we had 3 years of the main X-Men title, not the side books. The main X-Men title was Sync. Sync wasn't even up for grabs in the election, the X-Men elections. You couldn't X-Men vote Sync out. He was going to be there. So there's some building going on, right? Not major building, because when Pepe Larraz was drawing his X-Men 700, Sync wasn't featured in there, right? So Pepe Larraz was, he was tasked with drawing the most important X-Men's, and he was going from this era, that era. He left Sync out. I'm not hating on Pepe Larraz, but, Sync wasn't there yet, and just like 3 years of kind of a push isn't enough to knock off Polaris or whoever else was on that list who's kind of higher profile. All right, I'm not mad at you, Pepe Larraz. It's just, but what you drew was a reality of the state of the X-Men when it comes to people with melanin in their skin and how prominent they are. Storm is undeniable, which is commendable, and it's because Claremont was using her ever since she was invented. She never stopped being used, generation after generation, writer after writer. Okay, well, if that's how Storm became relevant enough to make it to the 700, wouldn't that be how everyone else can too? So the absence of Sync is beyond me. Tom Brevoort, step it up. Don't make your own new project of your own new black character. Like if you're down with Oya, dog, Oya's D-list stench is going to be hard to scrub off. And by the time you do, you won't be in charge anymore. And the next person in charge is going to be like, I like this black character instead. And we'll get the same thing we just had with Sync. I know Sync was not your idea, Tom. You may not have no affinity towards that character, but Sync was being used and viewed as high profile. Continue that to get to the progress, to get to progression. You need to resume the push. That is a wrestling term. The push means the elevation of a character. Thank you for coming. If you're watching me for the first time because you saw me on the Comics Pals, hi. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, here's the video with the Comics Pals. I did this yesterday with them, chit-chatting about the X-Men Fall of the X, number 4. I also did another video about the X-Men TV show and representation with Planet Fanatics that's also there. Check us out.